Yeah, good evening all of you. I am Dr. Subramaniam, Professor, EC Department, Sasi Institute of Technology and Engineering, Tadepalligudem. I am dealing the subject Signals and Systems. In the last class we have seen basic or elementary signals. Now we are going to start classification of signals. Yeah. There are 6 different categories of signals. The first and foremost one, continuous time and discrete time signals. Next, deterministic and random, periodic and non-periodic, energy and power, causal and non-causal, even and odd signals. We will see one by one in detail, because the foundation of classification of signals is very important to deal different topics in signals and systems in further units. Yeah, first let us start with continuous time and discrete time. All the topics in the subject are dealt separately in continuous time and discrete time. We need to understand the behavior of a signal either in continuous time or discrete time. So first let us see continuous time. As the name itself indicates, any signal contains two axes, time axis and amplitude axis are nothing but here we are going to represent the signal along y-axis. Here, as the name indicates, continuous time. Time axis is continuous. Time axis is continuous. Whereas the amplitude axis is also continuous. Then the signal is said to be continuous time. So, a continuous time signal is one in which time axis is continuous and amplitude axis is also continuous. Here it means for every possible value of time we are going to represent the amplitude. See, in a specified interval, suppose from 0 to 5, let it be this is 0 to 5. In the interval 0 to 5, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the interval 0 to 5, at each and every possible value of time, amplitude is defined. It means at a time t equal to 1, this is the amplitude. Next, 1.1 also amplitude is defined. 1.01 also amplitude is defined. Like this, amplitude is defined at each and every possible value of time. So that's why it is denoted as continuous time. So it is a combination of all the time points, infinite number of time points within the interval 0 to 5. So by combining all these very close amplitude points at each and every time interval, it looks continuous. It looks continuous. Okay, that is about continuous time. Most of the signals available in nature are continuous in nature, isn't it? We take different examples. Temperature in a day, temperature in a particular day. So if you put a thermometer to measure the temperature throughout the day, at each and every point of time it gives the temperature value. So it gives a continuous wave like this. Okay. So next, second one, discrete time. Discrete time. Here also, as the name indicates, the time axis is discrete. This is time axis. Here in discrete time, time axis is denoted as n. Here the time axis is discrete. The time axis is discrete. It means if you take an interval of 0 to 5, similar to the previous one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here the amplitude of the signal is defined only at either 0. At 0, this may be the amplitude. We are going to represent with a sample. At 1, this may be the amplitude. At 2, this may be the amplitude, negative amplitude. At 3, this may be the amplitude. At 4, maybe like this. At 5, maybe like this. So, at only discrete points of time, we are going to define the amplitude. It means what is the difference between continuous and discrete time? Between 1 and 2, there are infinite number of amplitudes are defined between 1 and 2. Whereas here, after 1, the next immediate value is 2 only. In between, nothing is defined. That is very important in case of discrete time. The amplitude is defined only at discrete values. At 0, at 1, at 2, at 3, that's it. Not in between 1 and 2, not in between 0 and 1. So that's why time axis is discrete. But here the amplitude axis is continuous. It's a somewhat confused point. Amplitude axis is continuous here. It means you can take any value for amplitude. Amplitude may be, suppose this is 1.9, amplitude may be 1.9, amplitude may be 0.9, amplitude may be minus 1.1, amplitude may be 2.7. So any possible value for amplitude is possible in case of amplitude for a discrete time. That's why here amplitude axis is continuous. Continuous in the sense any amplitude can be used as an amplitude to represent the sample. Okay, next, actually another classification is also there, that is the extension of discrete time, that is digital, simple extension of it, where here both time axis is discrete and amplitude axis is also discrete. The conversion from discrete time to digital is nothing but the continuous amplitude axis is made discrete. It means instead of taking any possible value for magnitude, we take only particular discrete values. It means the amplitude may be either 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. That's it. Similarly, time axis anyway, only particular values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means if we have 0.9 at 1, 0.9 is not possible, either 0 or 1. So it is rounded off to 1. It is rounded off to 1. 0.9 is rounded off to 1. Next, at 0 the amplitude is 1.9. 1.9 is possible, not possible here. The amplitude may be either 1 or 2. No value in between. So 1.9 is not possible, so it is rounded off to 2. Similarly, minus 1.1 is not possible, either minus 1 or minus 2. So it is rounded off to minus 1. Like this. Like this, the amplitude values are also made discrete. Okay, so that's why it is called both time axis and amplitude axis, both are discrete, then the signal is said to be digital signal. That's about the first classification and very, very important fundamental classification of signals. Okay, next, deterministic and random. Second classification of signal is deterministic and random. Here, a signal is said to be deterministic. A signal is said to be deterministic if it has no uncertainty in its existence. Deterministic signal. A signal is said to be deterministic if there is no uncertainty. No uncertainty in the representation of the signal. It means these type of deterministic signals are represented with clear mathematical equations. For example, x of t equal to 5 into t, 5t. A signal is represented like this. So it is a deterministic signal. Here, for every value of t, we are going to find x of t. If you find out the value of x of t at a particular time t, we can also guess the same signal at some other time. Suppose at t equal to 5, at t equal to 5, what is x of t? 5 into 5, 25. Similarly, we can find out the same signal value at some other time also. So at t equal to 10, x of t equal to 50. Like this, at any point of time, we can find out the existence of the signal, because there is no uncertainty. The signal is exact, perfect, certain signal. Okay, so the deterministic signals are represented with mathematical equations. In the entire subject of signals and systems, we are going to deal deterministic signals only. Next, another category of signals, that is random. Random, exactly opposite to the deterministic. The signals which have uncertainty in its existence. Uncertainty in its existence. It means we can't, if we know the existence of the signal at a particular time, it is not possible to guess the same signal amplitude at some other time, which was possible in deterministic. And the second point is, random signal, as there is an uncertainty, cannot be represented with mathematical equations. We go for probabilistic way. We go for probabilistic way. When something is not defined properly, we should assume it. We should assume it. That's why it is called probabilistic way. We are going to guess the signal. Once if you know the existence of, suppose for example, if we know the outside atmosphere today, and if it is a hot summer, then we can guess only that the atmosphere is also very hot tomorrow. That is a guess, but we can't tell exactly tomorrow it is very hot. It may rain suddenly. So that's why probabilistic way only we are going to tell. So that's why the subject that deals with random signals is probability theory and random process. That is completely a different subject, where different parameters are going to be used to deal with random signals. Okay, so suppose ECG signal. If you take an ECG signal, we can't guess the signal. If I know the amplitude of the signal at a particular time, we can't guess the time at some other time. It is not possible because its existence is uncertain. That's about random signals. Next, third category of signals is periodic and non-periodic. Yeah, it is very important classification, periodic and non-periodic. A signal is said to be periodic if it repeats itself at regular intervals of time. Then the signal is said to be periodic. Regular intervals of time. Suppose, for example, take a particular shape. Suppose triangular. Same shape. This is called a particular interval. Same shape is repeated forever, towards positive and towards negative. Then the signal is said to be periodic. Because here the particular part of the signal, this part having a period, let it be period t, this part is repeated forever. Similarly, you can take another example, simple sinusoidal signal. Simple sinusoidal signal, it is also periodic. Which part is repeated now? This part is repeated now. This part is repeated forever on either side. That's why it is also periodic. Okay, now there is a condition for we can define the periodicity for continuous time and discrete time separately. First, let us start with continuous time periodic signal. So a continuous time periodic signal, let us take a continuous time signal, it is denoted as x of t. A continuous time periodic signal x of t is said to be periodic if it satisfies the condition x of t plus or minus t, any value, is equal to x of t for all t. For all t. Then the continuous time signal is said to be periodic. See the meaning of it. X of t plus capital T. It means if the given signal, continuous time signal x of t, is shifted by an amount of capital T, it should be equal to the original signal. Let us apply it here. Suppose we are telling that it is one period is capital T. Suppose if the signal, this is x of t. This is x of t. Suppose if you find x of t plus t. For the same signal, if you try to draw x of t plus t, the same period is shifted left by 1t. Then what will happen? This part comes here, this part comes here, this interval goes here. Then if I draw here, this part comes here. See, this part comes here like this. Even after a delay of capital T, it is equal to the original signal x of t. Okay, then the signal is said to be periodic. And here we need to define the fundamental period. Very important point. Fundamental period T. Fundamental period capital T. So what is fundamental period capital T? The smallest possible value of capital T for which the above condition is satisfied is called fundamental period. Here in this example, even if the signal is shifted by 2t, if you take 2t means from here to here it is 2t. If the signal is repeated by 2t also, we get the same signal. If it is shifted by 3t also, we get the same signal x of t. So this condition is satisfied for t, 2t, 3t and so on. What is the fundamental period? The smallest possible value of t for which the above condition is satisfied is called fundamental period. So in this example, if it is capital T, so capital T is the fundamental period. Okay, that's about continuous time periodic signal. Let us see some examples here. I'll show some more examples for it. See, these are some of the continuous time periodic signals. Already I have shown all this. This is not periodic. So the signal which does not satisfy this condition, even for one value of t, then the signal is said to be non-periodic or aperiodic. These are the simple examples. If the signal is shifted by an amount of t, it will not give the original signal. Here also. So that's why these two are the examples for non-periodic in continuous time. These two are continuous time periodic signals. Okay, next, similarly we can go for discrete time periodic signals also. The next category is not next category, another case. Let us see some examples in continuous time periodic signals. Then we will go for discrete time. Let us see some examples. X of t equal to sine 12 pi t. In case of continuous time signals, all sinusoidals and exponential signals are periodic always. All sinusoidal and exponential signals are periodic always. Okay, better keep it in mind. We have a proof. You can refer any textbook for the proof. All sinusoidals and exponentials are periodic always. Okay, so take the first example, x of t equal to sine 12 pi t. So it is a sinusoidal signal. So as it is a sinusoidal signal, well in advance we can tell that x of t is periodic. We can confirm it well in advance. Why? Because x of t is a sinusoidal signal. Because x of t is sinusoidal. So first task is over. X of t is periodic. What is the second task? We need to find out the fundamental period. So the fundamental period is obtained from the angular frequency. So we need to take out the angular frequency from the given signal. So we know the standard form of sine or cos signal. Sine 2 pi ftr omega naught t plus pi. It is a standard notation of any sinusoidal signal with an amplitude of A, frequency omega naught, radians per second, pi is the phase angle. If you compare these two, we can easily find out the angular frequency omega naught equal to 12 pi radians per second. 12 pi radians per second. So from omega naught, we can easily find out T. We know the relation omega naught equal to 2 pi f, f equal to 1 by T. Then therefore the fundamental period T equal to 2 pi by omega naught, that is equal to 2 pi by 12 pi, that is equal to 1 by 6. 1 by 6 seconds is the period, fundamental period T equal to 1 by 6 seconds. So it is very easy to do. Similarly, let us take one more example, exponential signal. Already I told you, all in continuous time case only, this is not true for discrete time. So again it is an exponential signal, so it is periodic. Here also well in advance we can confirm that x of t is periodic because it is a exponential signal. Next, second task is to find out only the fundamental period. How to find out the fundamental period? We need to extract the fundamental frequency in radians per second, angular frequency. What is omega naught? There is a standard form, a into e power j omega naught t plus pi. It is the standard notation of any exponential signal. So if you compare it with the standard form, you can easily take out omega naught equal to 4 pi radians per second. 4 pi radians per second. So with this you can easily find out the fundamental period T. So what is the fundamental period T formula? 2 pi by omega naught, that is equal to 2 pi by 4 pi, that is equal to 1 by 2 or 0.5 seconds. So the signals are periodic well in advance. We need to confirm two things, whether the signal is periodic or not. If periodic, we need to confirm the fundamental period T. Okay, next, go to the next level. In these type of examples, here if you observe, the given signal x of t is a sum of two signals. Sum of two signals. Here we need to take care. Already I told you, individually it is a sinusoidal, so periodic. Periodic. The period may be, we can find out the period t1. Next, second term is also sinusoidal signal. So it is also periodic. Periodic may be period with t2. But even though if the individual terms are periodic with individual periods t1 and t2, the sum may or may not be periodic. That we need to find out. Is it clear? Even though individual terms are periodic, the sum may or may not be periodic. That completely depends on the ratio t1 by t2. T1 by t2. If the ratio t1 by t2 is a rational function, rational or ratio of integers, then the signal is said to be periodic. Then the total signal x of t is periodic. Is it clear? Very important point. X of t may be periodic only when the ratio t1 by t2 is rational or ratio of integers. In this example, what is t1? Directly I am doing it. t1 equal to 2 pi by omega naught. What is omega naught for the first term? 10 pi. That is equal to 1 by 5. 1 by 5 seconds is the t1 for first one. Similarly for the second one, what is t2? 2 pi by 20 pi. That is equal to 1 by 10 seconds. Individually periodic with these periods. Then to find out the sum to be periodic, find out t1 by t2. What is T1 by T2? 1 by 5, that is equal to 2. 1 by 5 divided by 1 by 10, that is equal to 2 seconds. 2 is an integer. 2 or 2 by 1. It's a integer value or ratio of integers. So x of t is periodic. So here x of t periodic. Okay. Next, similarly, you can see the another example. You can see the another example where let us apply the same. First term is periodic. There is no doubt. It is periodic with period T1. What is T1? 2 pi by omega naught equal to 2 here. That is equal to pi seconds. T1 equal to pi seconds with the period, fundamental period of pi seconds. The first term is periodic. Similarly, you can do it for second. It is also sinusoidal. So periodic. What the period? 2 pi by omega naught. Omega naught equal to root 3. 2 pi by root 3 seconds. We can maintain it. We need not simplify. 2 pi by root 3 seconds is the period of the second term. Now, for the x of t, which is a sum of two terms, for it to be periodic, we need to see the ratio T1 by T2. It should be a rational function. Let us see T1 by T2. T1 equal to pi divided by 2 pi by root 3. How much? Root 3 by 2. Root 3 by 2 is not a rational function, not a rational number, not a rational one. Root 3 by 2 is not a rational or ratio of integers. Okay, so that's why x of t is non-periodic. X of t is non-periodic or aperiodic. Non-periodic or aperiodic. So with these four examples, you can easily understand the continuous time periodic signals and their behavior. So continuous time sinusoidal or exponential signals are periodic always, but if the signal contains two terms, we need to check the ratio T1 by T2 for that signal to be periodic. Okay, that's about continuous time. Next we can go for discrete time periodic signals. Yeah, coming to the discrete time signals, already I told you examples for discrete time periodic signals we have seen here. Yeah, these are the examples for periodic discrete time signals where the signal contains samples. Instead of continuous signal, here we contains samples. These are the examples for discrete time periodic signals. Let us see the definition. A discrete time signal is said to be periodic again if it satisfies the condition x of n plus capital N is equal to x of n for all n. Any discrete time signal is denoted with x of n. We are checking it. Same concept is same, but notation is different. Here x of n is shifted by an amount of n on either side. Even after shifting, it should be equal to the original for all values of n. Then the signal is said to be, then the discrete time signal is said to be periodic. Already I have shown some signals. Continuous times like this. It is a sinusoidal signal. Like this, we can go from minus infinity to infinity. Here again, same duration for one cycle is denoted as capital N. Capital N instead of capital T in continuous time. Okay. As the discrete time signal contains samples, we should not say that the condition not all discrete time sinusoidal signals are periodic always. that condition is not applicable here. That is only for continuous time signals. Okay, here what are the condition for a discrete time signal to be periodic? A discrete time signal x of n to be periodic, the very important condition is the fundamental frequency omega naught should be rational multiples of 2 pi. Rational multiples of 2 pi. This is the condition for a discrete time signal to be periodic. Very important condition. From the given x of n, we can easily find out omega naught, the angular frequency. From the angular frequency, if it is possible to represent rational multiples of 2 pi, then we can say that the given signal is periodic. Let us see some examples to understand this concept. Okay, first example, sine x of n equal to sine 5 pi n. Here, similar to the continuous time, first immediately try to extract the fundamental frequency omega naught. So take omega naught from this, omega naught equal to 5 pi radians per second. Omega naught equal to 5 pi radian per sample. Okay, here we should be in a position to write omega naught as rational multiples of 2 pi. Try to observe it. Here 5 pi can be written as 2 pi into 5 by 2. 5 pi can be written as 2 pi into 5 by 2. So what is the form of rational omega naught? Should be in a position to write 2 pi into m by capital N, rational multiples of 2 pi. Means omega naught equal to 2 pi into m by n. M by n is a rational number, ratio of integers. Here 5 pi can be written as 2 pi into 5 by 2. Okay, it will give 5 pi only. So here by comparing it with the actual one, the fundamental period, capital N equal to 2 here. By comparing with this, capital N equal to 2. So the given signal is periodic with the period n equal to 2. Now we can see another example. Here by comparing with standard form, you can take what is omega naught? Omega naught equal to 4 radians per sample. Omega naught equal to 4. By any means, it is not possible to write omega naught as rational multiples of 2 pi because pi is not there. Shortly we can remember like this: omega naught does not contain pi, so it is not possible to write as multiples of 2 pi or pi. It is not possible. So not possible to write omega naught as rational multiples of 2 pi. Rational multiples of 2 pi. So the given x of n is not periodic. Sorry, it is x of n. X of n is non-periodic or aperiodic. Okay, in a simple way we can tell like this. Next, if you see the combination, now it is a combination of two terms. Here x of n is combination of two terms. Here also individually we need to find out whether the individual terms are periodic or not. Then we can decide based on the ratio n1 by n2. So first, take the first term, find out whether it is periodic or not. So from the first term, take it out omega naught. What is omega naught? 2 pi by 3. 2 pi by 3 radians per sample. Here, if you observe, it is possible to write omega naught for multiples of 2 pi. So it can be written as 2 pi into 1 by 3. We know the form. What is that? Omega naught equal to rational multiples of 2 pi m by capital N. You should keep it in mind always. So we can write it. Therefore, what is the fundamental period by comparing it with this form? N1 equal to 3. Similarly, take the second term. Here, what is omega naught? Omega naught equal to 2 pi by 5. Here also, if you observe, it is possible to write omega naught as 2 pi into 1 by 5. Rational multiples of 2 pi. So, the given second term is also periodic. What is the fundamental period? N2? N2 by comparing it with N2 equal to 5. Now, for the sum to be periodic, now N1 by N2, if you observe, always 3 by 5. 3 by 5. It is a rational number or ratio of integers. So, x of n is periodic. If you want to find out the fundamental period, the given signal, you can take phi n1 fundamental period. Fundamental period for the whole term is n equal to 5n1 or 3n2. How much? 5n1, 5 into 3, 15. So the fundamental period equal to 15. Like this you can easily find out. Suppose in these two terms, in some other example, if pi is not there, we can easily tell that the term is not periodic. So ultimately the ratio may not be periodic. Like this we can easily do continuous time and discrete time signals. Thank you for giving me this chance. Half of the classification of signals is completed up to this. Remaining 3 classifications of signals will be discussed in the next class. Thank you.